All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. And in this video, we're going to talk about Errol Spence Jr. and a potential hiccup for the Terrence Crawford fight with the fighter named, last name Stanionis, first name Eimantas, the WBA regular champion. And he says that fight with Terrence Crawford may require Errol to drop his belts. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to talk about what I don't want to kill his name, Eimantas Stanionis has to say about the Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. fight, or Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford fight, depending on which guy that you think is the real champion at this point in time. He is saying that that fight between the two of them is not a done deal, and that he is already contracted to fight Errol Spence Jr. next. Now, I will give you an explanation, but real quick, before I do that, welcome back to the channel. To my subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. And if you're a new subscriber or you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Your support would be greatly appreciated. All right, so Errol Spence Jr., Terrence Crawford, huge fight that everybody wants to take place. However, Eimantas Stanionis is the WBA mandatory guy for Errol Spence Jr., and he is a what can you say, a requirement that Spence has had inherited from Yordenis Ugas. If you do not recall, when Errol Spence Jr., when Yordenis Ugas was the WBA super champion and he fought Manny Pacquiao and beat Manny Pacquiao, there was talks about him fighting Errol Spence Jr. However, the WBA originally balked at that and said on at least two different occasions, I think it was third time was a charm for Yordenis Ugas, but the WBA mandated the fight between Yordenis Ugas and Stanionis, and Eimantas Stanionis, and Yordenis Ugas had to ask and petition them multiple times in order to fight Errol Spence Jr. in a three-belt unification fight. Right now, Stanionis was just gave an interview to Boxing Scene. The guy that wrote, make sure I give the credit for because when I can give credit, I want to give him credit, but I don't know the guy's name. He goes by the name Random Hits, and this was just published today on Boxing Scene in an article entitled Eimantas Stanionis feels Conor Benn is being protected, wants a shot at Spence. He says in this article that he is contracted to fight Spence because, and this is how that came to be. When Yordenis Ugas eventually got approved to fight Errol Spence Jr., it was not without a lot of pushback, and to boot, he had, I do believe, Yordenis Ugas had to pay step aside money for Stanionis. However, that consolidation of belts, because it's not a mandatory, it's a WBA consolidation of belts, is still in play because the WBA had been ordered by the Association of Boxing Commissions, excuse me. It's the biggest boxing agency that's actually a quasi-federal agency. The Association of Boxing Commissions had ordered the WBC to consolidate their belts. So they are having many of their regular WBA champions fight their super champions to do away with the WBA regular belt and just have a super champion. The same thing very well may take place with Gervonta Tank Davis as the WBA regular champion, and the winner of George Kambosos and Devin Haney, because they have the WBA super belt, and they're consolidating these belts, and that's why the WBA was really pushing hard to get Yordenis Ugas to fight to fight Stanionis. But what wound up happening, or actually, I think he was actually just as mandatory. And then what happened after that was, because this is actually, yeah, that's right. What happened after that was Stanionis became the WBA regular champion when he beat Butiev on the same day as Errol Spence Jr. beat Yordanis Ugas to get the WBA super belt. So now you not only have the original mandatory that was ordered, you also now have in combination the WBA consolidation of belts, right? So it is not, and then in this particular interview, Stanionis said, look, he says he really does want to see the Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford fight. He wants to see it, and he understands the world wants to see that. But look, man, he's a hungry fighter. He's a hungry young fighter, and, you know, he has dreams too. And if he can fight for all three of the belts, you know, on one day, that's what he wants. That's what he wants to do. And he said, but hey, man, you know, if Errol Spence Jr. is going to drop the belts, then hey, man, maybe I can fight somebody else for all those three belts. But if he wants to go ahead and fight, if he wants to fight Terrence Crawford, and that is a very, very real thing. Now, maybe it's a scenario where the WBA will overlook it, but I'm telling you, I would not count the WBA out of throwing a monkey wrench in that plan for several reasons. One, there are different powers that be that may not actually want the Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford fight to take place for either monetary reasons or whatever reasons that they have. Now, the manager for Stanionis is the current manager, of Deontay Wilder, Shelly Finkel. So, you know, Shelly Finkel obviously is in good with the PBC. Most of his fighters that he has now are also Al Haymon fighters. So he has a very good and a consistent relationship with Al Haymon. And the PBC may very well say, nah, the money's not there for the fight, and then actually try to push the WBA into mandating that fight. And, you know, people may say that doesn't make sense or whatever, but look what happened. Look what happened with Rolly Romero and Gervonta Tank Davis. I personally don't think that it is a coincidence that the WBA ordered that fight when Floyd Mayweather Jr. and when he said, when you see the PBC, you see me. When you see Al Haymon, you see me. We're partners. That he wouldn't necessarily want that in-house fight to be made for Gervonta Tank Davis, even though Gervonta Davis may not necessarily have wanted that fight, may have desired another fight, a higher profile fighter, or what have you. So, you know, like I said, man, before about the Errol Spence Terrence Crawford fight, that clearly the two fighters want that fight, and those guys, and like Terrence Crawford said, hey, there's no obstacles to the fight. He sees no obstacle. What it say? Nothing between the fight, standing in the way of fight, but air and opportunity. That doesn't necessarily mean that Stanionis is willing to do another step aside, you know, when he has three belts that he can make, and he believes that he has a chance to beat Errol Spence Jr. So anyway, you know, it is what it is. We'll definitely see what happens. You let me know what you think will happen in the comment section. Thank you again for everybody. Again, if you're not subscribed, please accept my invitation to subscribe and hit that bell icon. Leave a comment in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.